Nothing But the Words, episode number 92. Get more eyes on your book.
Welcome to Nothing But the Words, the podcast that gives you everything you need to know to write a phenomenal book. Now here's your host, your author coach, Candace L. Davis.
Hey there, and welcome to Nothing But the Words. I'm your author coach, Candace L. Davis. I hope your week and your writing are both going really, really well. Earlier this week, I was chatting with a friend who I haven't had a chance to talk with in a while. We've kind of fallen out of touch, and we were chatting online, and I had to hold myself back from typing in all caps with all the exclamation marks because we were talking about her book. The reason for my typing rage was because this friend has written a useful and unique and really great book. I saw her launch it last year. I bought a copy and went on with my life, meaning to reach out to her, but I never actually made that happen. A few weeks after her launch last year, I noticed she wasn't mentioning the book anymore in her posts or anywhere else that I saw her online. And I thought maybe I just wasn't seeing her book promoting content, or perhaps she had a plan happening behind the scenes that I wasn't seeing, like promoting her book directly to organizations, something of that nature. When I asked her about it, however, she said she didn't have anything going on. She had just kind of fallen off and stopped talking about her book. Now, her book is not a little pamphlet that she whipped out in a weekend. It's substantial and it's solid. So I know she invested time in writing it. The book's design was clearly done by a professional, and my friend has high standards. She bougie. So I know she invested money in publishing her book. I want her to sell more. I want more readers to benefit from her book and her knowledge and her story, and I want her to earn a return on her investment. And of course, we're friends, so I told her all this. If you've written a book or you're in the process of writing one, here's how you can tell people about it and sell more books. That's what I want to share with you in this episode. It's really important to note that you can start talking about your book well before it's written, as long as you're actually writing, well before it's done, and you can keep talking about it, and you should keep talking about it well after your launch. So the first thing you can do to get more eyes on your book is simply to add author of your title to your bio everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean your website, your business card, electronic and paper. And I know many of us don't carry paper business cards anymore, but I still think it's a good idea to have a few. You never know when you're going to run into someone who prefers that paper business card. So have author of and your title on the business card and on all your social media platform bios. You can actually add this even before your book is published. Just add in parentheses next to the title, May 2022, or whatever your planned launch date is. Don't just call yourself author in those bios. Include the title of your book so you brand that title in people's minds. They'll come to associate the book with you, and the title will become familiar to them, making it much more likely that they'll eventually buy your book. The second thing you can do to get more eyes on your book is to post pictures of your book in different locations. This seems like maybe a little silly if you're not big on self-promotion, but it's an easy to create and fun campaign that has visual interest. So it makes sense for sites, particularly for sites like Instagram, but you can use it on any social media. And you can tie the content of your book to almost any setting. Just get creative in talking about why your book is there, or don't get creative about it. Just share the picture. So take pictures of your book in places your audience might like to be, from a bar to a boardroom, depending on what your book is about and who's in your audience, right? Or places tied to themes in your book, or places that show the behind the scenes view of the story or the knowledge that went into creating your book. Take your book into various bookstores. Even if they don't carry your book, you can place it on a shelf or on a display long enough to take a photo of it. No one's going to chase you out of the store. I've done it many times with my clients and my friends' books. So you can carry your book into especially lovely independent bookstores and find a cool display and take a picture of your book there. And this is not you pretending that they're selling your book, by the way. You can share with the world that this is just something that you do, something that's fun. You can create amazing tablescapes for various seasons or holidays, all starring your book. These are just about creating visual interest. You want your followers and future readers to become familiar with the title and the cover, so when they're thinking of what to buy, your book comes to mind. Or when they see an ad for your book or your book comes up in an Amazon search, they'll remember it, recognize it, think, oh yeah, I've been meaning to read that. A third thing you can do is to ask readers or people who love you to take selfies with your book and post them or send them to you. If you haven't published your book yet, you can send advance copies to your launch team, just a group of friends or even family members who agree to promote your book in exchange for a free copy and perhaps some other bonus love from you. Ask them to take pictures with your book, smiling, happy pictures, of course. Post them on social media and tag you. Then you can share or repost their posts. With their permission, you can even use these photos on your sales page for your book and in other marketing materials. These pictures will show your audience of readers who haven't yet bought your book that real people like them read and love your book. If you don't have an audience yet, you don't have people that you could send an email to and say, hey, followers and fans and friends, would you be interested in joining my launch team? That's okay. Reach out to the people you know. It doesn't matter if these first pictures come from your aunts and uncles and baby cousins. If they're not on social media, you can even have them send the pictures directly to you for you to share. A fourth thing you can do is to pull quotes from your book, make some cool graphics, and post those on social media. It doesn't matter what your book is about. This can apply to any kind of book. If it's a novel, pull out cool lines of dialogue or super short but suspenseful action scenes. Create a graphic post out of that. From your memoir, you can pull dialogue or surprising moments or some of the insights that you share in your book and create quote pics from that. For other nonfiction, you can share surprising statistics, images of your framework, or graphs and charts that illustrate attention-grabbing concepts. And those graphs and charts may be already in your book, or you may create them just as a part of your marketing strategy. It's lovely if it's both, but it's okay. If you didn't create them before you wrote and published your book, that's fine. You can still do this after the fact. You can also pitch yourself as the author expert who helps solve a particular problem or helps specific people achieve a particular goal to podcasts and other media outlets. Now, if you don't have a lot of media experience, this can be intimidating to start, but you don't have to start with pitching yourself to Good Morning America, Dr. Phil, or CNN, all of which my clients have appeared on, just to brag on them a little bit. You shouldn't start at the top, in fact. But there are tens of thousands of podcasts and video interview shows that need guests. They are hungry for content. I love podcasts and online TV. I guess we could call it whatever you want to call YouTube podcast. I love them because they live forever online. The podcast you do today could earn you new readers a year or more from now. You can use a service like Matchmaker.fm to get started pitching to podcasts without spending a lot of money if you don't have the time to go out and research podcasts for yourself. Or you could hire a VA with this particular experience to do it for you. And local radio and television news and talk shows also need guests. If your budget allows it and it will support your goals, you can invest in more expensive and more customized or higher level media placement or public relations services. They are definitely out there. That's totally optional, though. You don't have to spend money to get media placement. You really don't. And number 6, you can write for other platforms to get more eyes on your book. Now, when authors want to get traditional book deals, they often build their platform by writing articles for other media outlets, magazines. I say other media outlets because I guess we all kind of have our own in terms of blogs or podcasts or whatever it is that we're doing. So these authors will write for media outlets like magazines, newspapers, and journals. And of course, most of that is online these days. Of course, you can write articles, essays, and blog posts for media outlets long before you publish your book. But you shouldn't stop once your book is published. Your short bio should include author of and the title of your book, so readers who find you through a magazine article or from some major blog, I guess we would call it a blog, like Huffington Post, can still find your book. So readers who want more from you have the title of your book. They know you're an author. They've just read an article that's relevant to the topic your book covers. So yes, you do want to be primarily writing on topics related to your book. They don't have to be drawn directly from your book, but something relevant so that it leads readers to find you on places like Amazon or hopefully in their independent bookstores. All of this may sound like a lot. It's not. It's all doable. None of it requires a huge investment of money, though if you have money to invest and want to throw it at these different strategies, you certainly can. It's all available to you. It's available to anyone who wants to do it. And you can start building an audience for your book well before you publish it, but you shouldn't stop once you launch. A year from its launch, your book should still have life because you should still be breathing life into it by talking about it. Now, I have 6 more ways to get more eyes on your book, which I will share with you in the next episode next week. But in the meantime, know this: it is never too early or too late to start building the audience for your book. Your book launch is a small point on the timeline of your book's lifespan, so don't focus only on that. You don't have to employ all of these strategies. Just choose a few that fit your brand and your budget and your schedule and go all in with them. That's all for this week's episode, friends. Listen next week for the additional 6 strategies to get more eyes on your book. And for more writing tips and inspiration, follow me on Instagram at Candace L. Davis. Thanks for listening to Nothing But the Words. I'm your author coach, Candace L. Davis, and I'll see you next time.